Attorney General James Uthmeier was in Bay County today proposing tougher penalties for poachers.
News Channel 7's Emily Clegg was at the county shooting range for the announcement. And Emily, what can you tell us about this proposal?
Yeah, well, Jess, Barry, according to the Attorney General, poaching is the illegal hunting, capturing, killing, or trafficking of fish or wildlife. Uthmeier says the current penalties are enough to deter poachers, which is why he's pushing for legislation to increase those penalties. His proposal introduces aggravated illegal taking of wildlife as a second-degree felony. That would be when poachers knowingly discharge a firearm near people, occupied buildings, or near infrastructure. In addition to legal trouble, violators would face permanent loss of hunting privileges and have to forfeit firearms and gear used during the crime. Violators will be moved under the jurisdiction of the statewide prosecutor to ensure consistent enforcement statewide. Poaching while trespassing would also become a third-degree felony.
Poaching, the unlawful taking of animals on private lands, breaking Florida state laws, that it will be raised from a misdemeanor to a third-degree felony, where somebody could actually spend real time behind bars. If you are poaching on private land in close proximity to people, to dwellings, to infrastructure, then it will be elevated to a second-degree felony, where you are looking at more time behind bars.
Bay County Sheriff Tommy Ford and leaders with the Fish and Wildlife Commission joined Uthmeier at today's press conference and support the proposal. Jess, Barry.
All right, thanks, Emily. And according to Uthmeier, it's all about protecting the natural resources for generations to come.
Yeah, this legislation is proposed for the next legislative session.